Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered and Functional. I'm your host, Mandy, and I'm here with my bestie, Sasha. Say hello.
Hello.
Love that girl, guys. And today we have a really great topic that I think at least 97% of women in America, if not more, and gentlemen as well, can absolutely relate to and find something in it that they've experienced. And that is talking about the science behind why we frequently will experience a bunch of cravings, even though we have zero appetite. Sasha, I don't know about you, but this is something that I ask in my check-in forms with my clients, and almost like clockwork, I can predict if any of them I know are going through a stressful period, almost every single time they're checking this box off. Do you have
Yeah.
that with your clients as well?
Yeah, I have a question where it asks about eating, and like how the nutrition was this week. And one of the options, one of the check boxes that they could check off is that they struggled with cravings or wanting to eat something that they knew that they weren't supposed to, like having that moment.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, I think the theme that you see between any person that talks about this is they'll be like, I just need to have more willpower. Like, I can't help it. Like, I just had so many emotions. And it like kind of comes back to like a shame and a guilt aspect of I need more discipline. I need more willpower. And what have we discovered with that? Usually it just ends up leading to more binging,
Yes.
basically. Ladies and gents listening, I want to give you some science behind why we can take that shame and guilt out of this and maybe help you guys end that cycle once and for all. Guys, this is real science. I did not make this shit up just to make you guys feel better about yourself. This is real science behind what's going on. The first thing you guys have to understand is when we are super stressed out and we are in that fight or flight freeze fawn type of, state of being with our nervous system, hands down, we're going to have suppressed hunger cues. If you think about it this way, I've described it so many times to my clients and other people this way. For as advanced as we are, we still have caveman brains. Our brain has one objective, and that is literally to keep us alive, to keep us surviving, not healthy, not happy, surviving. If you're a caveman and there's a saber-toothed tiger and you have to get away and you are in fight or flight, think about it. Your body's not going to be like, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat something. No, your body's like, I need to punch this bitch in the face or I need to hightail it. Now, in modern times, if we get stuck in that fight or flight state, no, probably there's not a saber-toothed tiger. It could be something as stupid as like an email deadline or having to call like a client at work, but your body doesn't know the difference and it will diminish that hunger cue. So, the first thing you guys have to understand is when you are stressed out, it is very real that your appetite is going to be suppressed. It is not a priority. The reason it's important to understand this is because it's going to set the stage for you to have cravings later, even if you're not currently having any hunger. And what's going on here is, Sash, what hormone goes up when we're stressed out?
Ah, cortisol.
Our
Ding, ding,
fave.
ding, ding, ding.
Our fucking favorite one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're stressed out, cortisol is going to go up. So even when you're not hungry, cortisol is going to be raising your blood sugar. And when that finally crashes hours later, that's when you're going to start experiencing that sudden sugar, carb cravings, salt cravings. You get those bingy urges. It's literally, I'm going to say this a million times, it is not a willpower issue in most cases. This is literally physiology. If your body is unfed and your brain is stressed, you are going to have cravings because your body is trying to correct low glucose because we used it all up when we were stressed, low dopamine, low serotonin, depleted minerals and vitamins. Because when you're stressed out and making cortisol, your adrenals need all the minerals and vitamins it can get. So that is why at the end of the day, you may not have been hungry at all, but all of a sudden we're going on this craving binge ride. Have you
Yeah.
ever experienced that yourself?
I have, and I have two questions. My
Yeah.
first question is, what about the people that when they're stressed, they do eat? There's the suppressed appetite, and I'm with you. Like, there's been times when I'm so stressed and then hours will go by and I miss the meal, and now I'm trying to make up food and whatnot. But then there's also been situations where I'm stressed, and although I may not be hungry, if I get my hands on food, I feel like it's almost like a calming. It used to be almost like a calming thing where words slipped out of my head, but it is essentially just comfort, like comfort food. Like when
Yeah.
people refer to food as comfort food when they're stressed, like, oh, I just need a tub of ice cream to like help me chill out. But like, what if it's in the moment of stress and not hours after the cortisol, like after the blood sugars drop? Like what is happening there?
I love that question. And actually, I was going to get there, but let's talk about it now. That's perfect because there are
Yes.
people that will comfort eat. And like I've done it too. I've been guilty of it all, like almost my entire life. So what's going on there from a scientific perspective? And again, guys, I want to take the guilt and shame out of it. That doesn't mean don't correct your behavior, but the first step is understanding what your body is telling you, what your behavior means, and then you can correct it so you can actually meet your goals. So when we're super stressed out, we're in what's called a sympathetic state of being with our nervous system. So like we're like up here, we're like, ugh. And one of the quickest ways to get from fight or flight to rest and digest to calm our nervous system down is to actually eat. Because then we go from a sympathetic state to parasympathetic state. We're up here and crazy, and it brings us down because all of the blood in our body, then, instead of focusing on fight or flight, gotta fight or run away, it's going to our stomach to help digest things. So we get almost like a momentary reprieve, which is why it's like that comfort. It's like, it's almost like a hit of a drug, right? We
Yeah.
crave to make our mood and our body and our nervous system stabilize. And eating when you're stressed out in that moment is like a really quick band-aid way to make that happen. And it doesn't last. As you know, the food, the dopamine and serotonin you get from eating in that stress moment, it's momentary. That's really all it is. It doesn't last. It's not going to last like hours and hours. It's just when you get to the point where you're just like so wired, that's a really easy fix. Yeah.
That totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. And my second question, I totally forgot it because that was a really good answer. So, yeah, that was really good. And I know that you have a couple other points that you want to touch on. And you mentioned like it's not necessarily a willpower problem. And I totally agree because when there are things going on internally, like you're stressed and whatnot, you can have all the willpower in the world and it could still be extremely difficult when it's like the same way that if your hormones are all over the place, like you could be the most structured and disciplined person, but your body still won't respond the way that it should if there are things that aren't fixed. But I do want to say that having like you can build up that willpower when you understand these things because then it's not just, oh, I'm hungry and I need to starve myself because I need to have the willpower. It's like, no, I'm not actually hungry. I'm stressed or I'm dehydrated or whatever. And then you can stack it on top of that. So I don't want people to think like, oh, you don't need to have willpower. And like, it's not one or the other. They complement each other. So I just wanted to point that out because you could have a very strong mind. And even when you're stressed, stop yourself from doing things that you know don't align with you. Like if I'm stressed and I want freaking ice cream, I'm not going to go for the ice cream. Or even hours later, I can tell myself that's not going to make me feel any better. I know that. Let me eat my salmon or chicken or whatever, like foods that actually fit are meant for me. So just wanted to tie that in that they're both equally important and complement each other, and you need both.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you do. And I mean, at the end of this, too, we're both going to talk about the mindset shifts you can take with it. And it totally plays into that because you're right. It's not a willpower issue, but it does come into play eventually. If you have goals, you will
Yeah.
have to use that muscle. But the first step is understanding why is this even happening to me? The next point I want to bring up, I know it gets talked about maybe too much, but it's totally relevant. And that's the fact that trauma alters our hunger pathways. And trauma is not really something that we never plan to be triggered. It just happens. But if you've had some unaddressed trauma in your life from childhood, and again, unaddressed, so you're not really aware of it or how it's impacting your body, over time, what this does is it dysregulates your dopamine. So
Mm.
when you're, and this is kind of to your credit, what you brought up before, is when the brain is really depleted or overwhelmed, cravings will feel like a relief or a hit because you are getting that dopamine that could be dysregulated from unaddressed trauma that comes up. This also comes into play too with, like we talked about comfort eating when you're stressed. There's also emotional restriction. So if you're somebody that grew up with a lot of emotional suppression, like putting your emotions down to focus on someone else, people pleasing, maybe there was food insecurity and your house wasn't always, you guys always didn't have food around. Chronic home stress. What happens there is usually unconsciously, people will restrict their food intake during the day almost as like a form to protect themselves in a way. But behind the scenes, what that really does to your body is your body sees any type of restriction like that as a threat. In turn, it will respond with impulsive eating, cravings, grazing. You know, the people that are like, I'm a grazer, where you just like can't stop snacking. That's kind of actually a physiological response to these things that are unaddressed. Or if you have food fixations where you're like obsessed with it, you can't stop thinking about food. This is because your biology is literally trying to keep you alive. And that also means like, hey, it's okay if you need to seek additional help, whether that's therapy, whether it's food disorder support and stuff, that's fine.
Psychologist, like someone to
Yeah.
talk about and
Mhm.
explain these things. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. The last thing I kind of want to impart as far as like a science perspective here is really understanding that the nervous system and cravings go hand in hand. It's a regulation tool. Our cravings inconvenient and we really don't want them because they don't necessarily help our goals. Yeah. But if you have some empathy and you have a little grace for yourself and understand cravings are your body's way of literally trying to keep you alive, taking it back to that caveman response. When we get food, we get more dopamine. We get food, more serotonin, more GABA. So we relax more endorphins. Cravings are basically the body's way of asking for something to soothe your nervous system, to soothe something that most people ignore all day, especially like if you're in a high stress job. Shit comes up and you're like, oh, I can't emotionally deal with this right now. I'm going to suppress it, get my job done. And then you go home later and then all of a sudden you're 5 Oreos deep and you're like, wait, what's going on? I didn't even eat dinner.
You kind of black out.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever had that with work before?
I have. It was, I mean, over the last couple of years, I've been, tracking my food and very diligent about the way that I'm eating, making sure that I have my meals planned and prepped out and everything. But I have had some times that when I was still working a full-time job or working for someone else, and even with my own work, sometimes getting like very overwhelmed and stressed and just having like 15,000 things that I want to get done, I would find myself having moments when I would either not like miss a meal because I was working and I wouldn't even be hungry. Like usually every couple of hours, like by the time that it's time for me to eat, I get hungry. But when I'm, so on the go, like I would notice that, oh, I wasn't even hungry. But then once I would start eating, it's like I can eat 1,000 calories in one sitting if you sat me down and let me do so. So in the past, I've definitely struggled with going into the pantry and taking like a handful of whatever out, whether it's something as simple as granola or whatever, like little things without even really thinking about it. Just like I'm hungry, I need to eat something. Like it's been hours, or like I'm stressed, I need to eat something. But truly something that helped me get so much better at it is having a prepped meal in the fridge. So I finished my workout, I can grab it, warm it up, quickly eat it on the go if that's what I need to do because of time constraints. But I've very much been there where I would not eat during the day, like especially when I was younger, I would not eat during the day and at night almost like reward myself with a shitty meal in a way. Don't eat all day to save the calories, and then I would eat pizza or whatever the case is, like something that wasn't healthy, but I almost let them cross each other out because I didn't eat anything. So now I can do this. And
Yeah.
that was when I had the worst relationship with food. I was in the worst shape. I was in the worst mental place. I had the worst brain fog. Nothing was good because I would go all day just starving without even noticing how hungry I am. And then at the end of the day, eating garbage, like actually garbage. Like I look back at it
Yeah.
now and you couldn't, and I'm not saying pizza is garbage. I'm saying like I would eat little bites and a bag of Takis and Nutella for dinner. Like it was like stupid. It was stupid the
Girl
way that
dinner.
girl dinner,
That
please get Get the out of here with that shit. I'm
I
sorry.
know.
If your idea of girl dinner is crackers on a plate with some cheese, like I need you to get your shit together now, respectfully. It angers me because I was there and I know how much damage it does.
Yeah.
So let's just avoid that.
You make a couple good points here. So one of them being, and I'm gonna put the science to it now, when you get home, you're like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm hungry. I want a reward. And it's like the reason that that hunger cue comes back when you get home is because your body finally feels like it can relax.
And
So like
safe.
it's safe. 100%. Exactly. Boom. Arrow on the bullseye. Once your body feels safe, then it'll be like, okay, we're not running from a saber-tooth tiger. We're not fighting a saber-tooth tiger. So now we can eat. Now we're safe to relax and eat and let our stomachs hang out. And we're totally fine. We're not going to get murdered. That's one part of it. And then the other part, which I think is really important to touch on too, is how you mentioned it was almost like a reward. Whatever that mean was, it's like a reward.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there too, and it would almost, it's like a convenient out, right? So I
Mm.
remember like working at the hospital all day, all night, whatever, coming home and finally being like, oh my God, I put up with some real bullshit today. Like, this surgeon was in a mood. I saw 3 crappy cases. I had to like do this many, like we're ordering blood transfusions for all these people and blah, blah, blah. I'm stressed. You know what? I deserve a little treat. That's also like the
Yes.
treat yourself culture, which don't get
This.
me wrong. I do enjoy a little treat here or there, but I also track it in my macros and I plan for it. Whereas this is a little bit different in that fact that it's like, well, I was stressed, so I deserve something. And it's like, well, if you have goals, then you deserve to reach your goals. But first, like, let's understand why you have this mindset about I need to treat myself because I had a hard day. It all accumulates and adds up.
Yes.
So
And
I
wait, wait, sorry,
no
finish.
no no.
I'm
I
like,
see you bursting. You need to say something.
I am. I literally am bursting. I have a couple things. First thing about the treat, food. Can we please stop using food as a reward for things? Like,
Oh
could
my
food
God.
please
Yes.
stop being a reward for things? Food, you can eat delicious food. You can go out to have a nice dinner. You could cook a great dinner at home. You can make your dinner look beautiful and look nice. But food is not a reward. Food is there for you always to fuel your body, to optimize your health, to make you feel good. It is not a reward. A reward is when you go and you get yourself a new pair of sneakers because you started running again. A reward is when you had a really stressful day, so you take a nice hot bath and then light a candle and then open up your favorite book and get some extra sleep in to help replenish your body. Like, can we please stop making food a freaking reward? Because that I think is so detrimental to the way that people have a relationship with food because they look at it as, like you said, I dealt with this, I deserve that. No, you're an adult. You're gonna deal with shit. Just because you dealt with that doesn't mean that you deserve something in response to that. Like, this is just life. This is just life. You're not gonna get rewarded for everything. And if you are gonna get a reward, don't make it food. Don't make it food. Make it something else. Make it something that you can actually enjoy and beyond that momentary making your food palate happy, like your mouth palate happy. That's my
Dopamine hit.
first thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my first thing. Second thing, I want you to talk to the woman and maybe even the men who have those stressful days, say that they deserve a little something when they get home, and then they pop open a bottle of wine and have a drink every single night. I
Okay.
want you to talk to those people for a second. And I know
I
that this is very specific on food that we're doing, but the effects that alcohol has on your body, especially when you are already it's in a stressful place. Like, I would just love for you to give a snippet of the science behind it. Because a lot of the times, the same people that struggle with the food, if they do consume alcohol, they struggle with the alcohol as well. Not in an alcoholic way, but having a drink every single night. What are your 2 cents
It's,
on that?
yeah. I am going to probably do a really poor job keeping my bias out of this, but I'm going to do my best. So, to address the first part, the science behind it. Alcohol has no health benefits, period. I know that there were articles written before about the benefits of red wine on heart health. I want to address that really quick. If you go back and look at that, the amount of red wine you would have to consume to get the benefits out of it is absolutely absurd. So
You're
it's
gonna be wine drunk.
You're taking just a microscopic look at one piece of data and skewing it to serve the narrative that you want. Yeah, this one property in red wine has health benefits, but the wine itself is going to negate that. So it really doesn't matter. Anytime you drink alcohol, it could be wine, it could be beer, it could be hard liquor, it could be a freaking White Claw. It does not matter. Alcohol is viewed by your body as a poison, which means that anytime you have a drink, even if it is one sip, it doesn't matter if it's one sip or one drink or one bottle, your body is going to temporarily stop, shut down your metabolism because, again, our brain's priority is survival. So if you're poisoned, everything shuts down. We got to get that poison out. So we're slowing our metabolism down. We're fucking up our hormones. We're putting everything on the shelf there. And then on top of that, alcohol also is in, you're uninhibited. So you're probably going to eat more. You're not going to be tracking things. So it's kind of compounding the issue there. There are no benefits. It also disrupts sleep. From a scientific point, these are the things that we have data. This is what happens when you consume alcohol. If you want to have a drink, cool. Have a drink, but have it on your terms. Have it so you understand that this is something I'm truly enjoying. This is not a coping mechanism. And that's where the difference is. First of all, understand what it's going to do to your body. And if you're okay with that, informed consent, you understand what's happening in your body, cool. Don't complain when you're inflamed for the next 2 or 3 days. Don't complain if the scale goes up, because that is what your body is doing to compensate for the alcohol consumption. Absolutely. If you understand that, great. But if you're drinking a glass of wine every single night and then complaining that you're not getting in shape or complaining that nothing is working, I'm sorry, honey, you have to take a step back and you have to be like, where am I setting myself back? And it's usually there.
It is.
I was not able to keep my bias out of it. I'm sorry.
No, by all means, that was amazing. And I also want to I want to touch on this part of it as well, because I don't want people to think that they could not ever have a drink on their fitness journey. I will be so very honest. I probably have a drink once a month, maybe twice a month, depending on depending on what's going on. For example, this weekend we're going out for a friend's birthday. I know I'm going to have a drink. In 2 weeks, it's my fiance's birthday. I'm going to have a drink. And I know these things. I know when I'm going to have it. I know what I'm going to do to plan for it, to make sure that I eat my freaking protein beforehand. I eat a good amount of carbs. I'm not starving myself to then have a drink because the drink has calories and it's not healthy or whatever. I'm eating my protein. I'm eating my carbs. I'm pretty much eating all of my macros before I go and have a drink. I'm having an electrolyte packet. I'm drinking a gallon of water before I consume any alcohol. And I know that when I have a drink, my heart rate goes up really freaking high. Whether it's one drink or 2 drinks, my heart rate skyrockets. And I could tell my sleep, even if I get 8 hours, it's still really shitty because of how high my heart rate is. And that's just me naturally. As soon as it spikes up, it doesn't come down for days. So I know how I prepare myself for it, how much I'm willing to have, and I know what the side effects are afterwards. So I don't want people to think that, oh, where Ms. Goody Two Shoes over here doesn't have a single sip of alcohol, and then they follow me on Instagram and see that I post an espresso martini on my story, because hell yeah, I'm gonna have myself one of those. But the difference is it's planned for, it's intentional. I know how my body's gonna feel. I do things in advance to almost preventative things that doesn't even prevent the shitty side effects, so to say, but it makes them less. Truly for me, and it helps my body in advance. And I take my supplements when I get home afterwards. I drink a shit ton of water. I don't, even if my fiance orders food after we go out and have some drinks, I don't indulge in that food with him. I might have half a muffin or that might be my most, but I don't indulge in food no matter how many drinks I had. But my point was more so directed at people who have a drink every single day or every other day or multiple times a week or every single weekend. I know that my body can't tolerate that, and I'm sure as hell that nobody's body can tolerate alcohol, even if they don't feel the effects from it because of how much, how used to it they are. It's your body's just used to having poison. That doesn't mean it's good for you. You did a great job explaining how it does slow down your metabolism. It does stop your body. The scale will go up. Whether or not you eat or starve yourself, the scale's gonna go up from alcohol. You will feel crappy from alcohol. So It's really a matter of being very intentional when you have it and not looking at it as a daily thing or a weekly thing. Because if you have fitness goals or you have health goals or you want to live a long life, we got to chill with that.
Period.
So that was where I was coming from with that.
Thank you. No, you did too, because that's an important discernment there. The difference between like having a social drink and like if you want to do that, great. We don't judge. We get passionate about people that might be in denial about their habits is kind of where this passion is coming from us. But the importance there is the why. So like if you are choosing to do it, cool. You understand. This is something I want to do. My fiance's birthday is coming up. I'm going to have it versus somebody that is having a drink every single day and just being like, oh, it's wine o'clock. I implore you, please dig deeper. Why are you really having this glass of wine every day? What are you getting from it? And if the answer is that it makes you feel more relaxed, okay, cool. That's one level. Why do you need it to feel relaxed? Then we dig deeper and it's like, okay, I'm stressed out. Okay, what is stressing you out? Like actually deal with the root cause versus just trying to cover it with a glass of wine. Period.
Same goes for substances, but that's a conversation for another time.
Definitely. We could do a whole episode on addictions and that kind of area, but whoo, let me rein this bitch back.
That was really good though. I know that was a little bit of a tangent and it was off of
That was
originally.
necessary.
Yeah, and I hope that anyone who's listening to this that does drink alcohol more than on the occasion doesn't feel like we are attacking or trying to hurt your feelings. We're just, like Mandy said, bringing the science. And as Andrew Huberman says, the science and science-based tools as to why this affects your body, why and how it affects your body. And truly, the digging deeper and having those mindset shifts is what helps you break the cycle.
And that's what it is it's a cycle. So that is the perfect segue actually into mindset shifts that you can have to improve your relationship with food or your glass of wine. And the first one being food is neutral. It's not good. It's not bad. There's going to be food that is more nutrient dense. That's going to be a lot more helpful for your health. And then there's food that is going to be processed and it's not going to be as beneficial. The thing I want to address here, and this could be a whole separate episode as well, is if you view food as the enemy, your healing and your fitness journey is always going to feel like an uphill battle or a fight. Food isn't a moral choice between good or bad. It's literally just information. It is energy for your body. Some foods are going to regulate you. Some are going to dysregulate you. Whole foods are going to regulate you. They're going to help your hormones. Processed foods are going to dysregulate you. They're going to cause you to be inflamed. So it's good or bad, not the terms I would use. It's just either is this going to benefit me or is this going to detriment me? The next kind of mindset shift is understanding that if you're eating consistently, that in itself is a form of nervous system safety. So even if you don't necessarily feel super hungry, if you give yourself that routine, eventually what this is telling your body is like, oh, I'm safe enough to eat. Like, remember what we said, like you're stressed out, you eat, what happens? You get that momentary feeling of like, oh, this is good. I got dopamine, I got serotonin. You're getting actual sugar, glucose you need for energy. So it's blunting that insulin spike response as well. You're going to save yourself from cravings later on. Even if you initially do not have hunger cues, even if it's a small meal, balance with protein, healthy fat, carb, get it in and understand this is how you take care of your nervous system. And I think another important, I call it mindset shifts, but I think it should just be understanding is that your hunger is not an inconvenience. I mean, it might feel that way. But it's literally just a communication tool. Your body is talking to you and saying, this is what I need. Now we're doing this episode and we're talking about like why you need it and like what it's doing and what's happening with your nervous system. But at the end of the day, it's literally your body just being like, hey, I love you and this is what I need. And for the people that also have hormonal issues, understanding that like this is a way to give yourself hormone care, period. This is going to help blunt those cortisol responses. It's going to help your insulin response. It's going to help regulate your mood. It's going to help with so many things. Food is a basic human right, which I get really passionate about too.
And a basic human need.
It is a basic human need, but like kind of like how you were saying, a reward system, because there are disparities, unfortunately, in this country where like there's a lot of areas that don't have access to healthy food. But at the end of the day, I don't want to digress here, but like food is one way that we care for our bodies. You need food. This is like a non-negotiable. This is for your health. Sash, are there any mindset shifts or perspectives you want to add on to that?
I mean, with that being said of, it's a necessity, it's not a reward. I want to tie that into you also don't need to earn your food. And this is something that I feel like have spoken about when we talked about like Thanksgiving and how to navigate the holidays and like not working out because you want to eat something specific or whatever, but you don't need to earn your food. Another thing, can we cut that? Like, could we cut that shit out? You can eat, you should and could and absolutely need to be eating the healthy food, the healthy protein, the healthy fats, the healthy carbs, the good food that fuels your body. You don't need to train like an animal and do hours of cardio in order to earn yourself a free meal or whatever the case may be. Like, food is not something that you earn. Food is not a reward. Food is not something that you need to bust your ass and work so hard for. It's like water. It's like you need it. Your body just needs it to live. And if you have that mentality around it that you need to earn your food, you need to do something really good for it to be a reward, you need to work super hard for it, your body is not going to process that food the way that it needs to be processed because it's just not. And I feel like I am walking proof of that in my own personal experiences of when I had a shitty relationship with food, no matter how good I tried to eat or how much I tried to earn it or this or that, my body was just fucked. Like, I'm sorry for my French, but it was like I was inflamed. It was so bad. And when I would try to almost like trick myself into being in a better mental state, but I still had this relationship with food, we didn't vibe. Like, it was not good. And I was eating very, very little food. And right now, I don't want to share specific calories or macros or anything, but I am eating like a lot of food. Like, I am eating a lot of food right now. And that number has just been going up and up and up every single week. I'm bumping up my food. I'm eating more food. I'm in a growth season. The scale has not gone up a pound. A lot of the reason for that, my training style didn't change besides me lifting heavier because I'm fueling my body. I'm doing way less cardio. Like, nothing huge changed besides the way that I feel about the food, besides the way that I intake the food, besides the foods that I'm eating and the way that they're just serving my body. Like, I'm not looking at it as a threat, and I'm also not looking at it as a reward, and I'm not looking at it as something that I earn because I'm working hard. If anything, I'm working harder because of how good I'm eating, not the other way around.
Guys, did you hear that? I hope you heard that. I hope you listened to this because you know what? We're actually going to cut it off now. Sasha makes a great point about eating more, and we're actually going to continue this conversation in Sasha's podcast about eating in the off season for bodybuilding. So guys, hop on over to Sculpt Sessions to listen to the rest of this conversation. Please like, rate the podcast, subscribe. All of this helps so much, and we'll see you on the next one.